Hello and welcome back to Automotive Tales. As you can see, I am once again in a Ford Crown Victoria. So I am back over at my brother's house. He is back from Canada. We're going to move the cars again like we did when Jonny was here. It's obviously going to be a lot easier because they were only started like 10 days ago when Jonny was here filming. But I'm going to walk you through some of the cars that are going to be for sale and give you some more details. Now I've got Chris here with me who knows everything about all of these cars. But first I've got to move one that isn't for sale, which is the lovely cool blue State Trooper car. This car might be up for sale for the right price. So this is probably the most complete car that's left here that's going to be up for sale. So it's a Cincinnati car. It's all liveried up. This is the one, you'll have heard the sirens in Jonny's video. This is the one that has all functioning sirens and lights. So it's a fully kind of functioning replica, well, it's an original Cincinnati police car. So the keen-eyed of you may have noticed this doesn't say Cincinnati, so it has had this put on just as a, I don't think it's fictitious, I think that's actually a real place, but as a livery for this car. So it's not from North Carolina, it's from Cincinnati. Mechanically quite a good car. You'll have seen in Jonny's video, as we're about to do again, it starts on the button. It's had a lot of servicing work and mechanical work done to it. As with all the cars that come out of service, they do require a bit of TLC on the body. So you can see the paint is peeled because they've lived lives in the sun. But starts on the button. It does when the battery's not dead, right? Right, we'll try again with terminals that are properly connected. Off you go. There we go. Just like that. So you'll see this one is already road registered in the UK. So it has a proper UK number plate, so it's had all its taxes and import duties paid, so it's ready to go straight on the road. And it looks like there's a cracked headlight on this, but it's not. That's actually just cobwebs. If you're interested, Chris's details will be in the video description, so bleep bloop away, give him an email, drop him a note if you are interested in any of these cars. It's probably worth noting, actually, one of the things that Chris did on this car when it was put on the road is it's had new headlights on it. So they look nice and shiny, which is why these look a little bit different. These are the originals, these were brand new, just to make sure it had a good beam pattern. So you might be wondering, well, actually, if it's had new headlights, is it legal for the UK? So these have a flat beam pattern, so you don't have the same problem that you have with driving in Europe, where the beam for left-hand drive and right-hand drive is incorrect. So it does pass its MOT even with its standard headlights, but these are just brand new standard units. The MOT only just ran out on this. It ran out in June, I think. But it sailed through its MOT last year. It's done about 200 miles before it was then parked up for the winter and then uncovered, as you saw in Jonny's video. So probably the most complete one of the lot. So if you're interested in this one, again, details are in the description. Yeah, so you'll see there's one warning. There's always tyre pressures on these things. It might be a sensor that's died, or it might just need a little bit of topping up. Most of them seem to have about 100 to 105,000 miles on them. That's because most of them come out of service about the 100,000 mile mark. But yeah, you can see this one is kitted up with the, you know, the high spec AM/FM radio. That is literally all you get in any Crown Victoria, which is hilarious. But it's got all the kit down here. You can do a bit of tidying up. You can make these into cup holders or various other things. But it's got the sirens and the light controllers and your little PA system, all of which works. So yeah, quite a nice sort of fully together Crown Vic. There is also, you can see the two other white ones back here. They're also from the same department. They're also Cincinnati cars. They've all got their original sort of tags with their key numbers on them from the same department. So there's 3 Cincinnati cars, but this is probably the most complete one. The other 2 will probably be up for sale, although I think that one won't have the light bars when it goes for sale. But yeah, 3 white Cincinnati cars will be for sale. So this one that Chris has just opened the bonnet on, so this was a Department of Correction car from Georgia. So it wasn't actually a police car, but it was a fleet car in the US. So again, another one that starts on the button, as you probably recall from Jonny's video, and we're just going to start it up and move it again, mainly so we can do some gardening, because it's very weedy here. But this one will be up for sale. So it's obviously on livery, it doesn't have lights on the top, but it obviously had something on the top at some point, because you can see the grommets. And as with a lot of these cars that have lived in kind of warmer states, the lacquer has started to go on the bodywork. But otherwise, the bodywork is sound. Mechanically, it's had quite a lot done. This one does have the proper crim cage. So not an awful lot of legroom in the back. Obviously, these can be unbolted and taken out if you wanted to use this to move people around or do, you know, proms and things with it. It has a bit of a, let's get in the car. It has a bit of a mixed colour interior in the front, if you can see it through the cage. Chris has got all of the cream bits to go with the dashboard, so it can all be replaced to match. It's also got a black door card randomly at the front, but again, he's got a cream door card to go with that, so you get all the bits you need to make it complete. Obviously, it's a functioning complete car as it stands. It just isn't all colour coded. But obviously, without the caging and the cream interior, it makes for quite a nice car inside, really. And these, I mean, I'm not going to say leather, pleather seats are quite unusual. Normally, they're fabric or even plastic in the back, especially when they've got a cage. So yeah, another one that will be up for sale. As before, Chris's details will be in the description below, so get in touch if you're interested in the cars and negotiate a little bit on price. And yeah, see if we can get some of these cars sold. Very nice. So it's still got the original folder, lots of Spalding County, Georgia, not Spalding in Lincolnshire, and it's got all its original paperwork. So this car has been imported, it's had all its taxes paid, but it isn't registered yet, so it will need an MOT on its VIN and then registering in the UK to be driven on the road. So it hasn't yet got UK licence plates, but it's had all the taxes paid. It is officially imported in here. Which is something you need to be really careful of if you are buying an imported car that doesn't yet have UK plates, is you can get stung with the import duty. So Chris has all the paperwork for these cars. They've all had their duty paid. Chris is reminded what's called as a NOVA. It's like notice of vehicle arrival, which is what triggers all of the import taxes and stuff. So that's the paperwork that's been done already. So anybody buying them won't get stung by any of that, because these are basically ready to go on the road. Some already have number plates, some just need an MOT to get the number plates. So you can tell this was never an official police car, but it was a fleet car, because they still have these massive, great big cages over the tunnel where you'd mount all the control stuff you've seen in the other cars. So it could be converted to be a replica police car if that's what somebody wanted, because you've got this massive mounting plate to work from. Right, I'm going to go move this one. So this one actually has slightly more mileage than the others, 130,000 on this one. So fun thing Chris has just showed me, if you push the little button down in the corner here, it will cycle through trip mileage, but also idle hours. So obviously these cars spent a lot of time sitting by the roadside at idle, waiting for, you know, somebody to go speeding past or something to go wrong, so they could set off quickly. And so it's quite important to have a look at the idle hours, and that's what a lot of them were measured on, rather than miles in some cases. So this particular one has got 3,073 idle hours. The lowest Chris has ever seen, he's got one that's got about 300 idle hours, and the highest he's seen is 9,000 idle hours. They spent a lot of time just sitting around. So 3,000 seems to be about average for these when they come out of service. It's lots of time sitting around, but that's probably why they're so silky smooth. The engines aren't really doing much hard work. They're just sort of sitting, idling, keeping the power to the lights on or the aircon running or whatever else. So I just wanted to quickly point out, so this car we've just been filming is a Georgia car, and you can tell, look how clean this thing is underneath. I think it's a 2006 car. They're not all quite as clean as this, but any that have had, they tend to rot quite heavily on the sills here, especially on this little, what do you call it, seam here, where you jack them from. In fact, you can probably just about see the cutout down there. For the jack point on the front of them. Quite a lot of them rust there, and the one we've just had out before, which is the white one here, that's had the sills replaced because they were a little bit crusty when it arrived in the UK. But this one, because it's come from such a dry state, is just, I mean, it's immaculate under here. It's borderline concourse in terms of the chassis, which is quite incredible. This actually though, this bit here, this is on the body, the bit that normally rusts. The chassis, which is this bit here, tends to be tends to be okay. For those that weren't familiar, obviously the Crown Vic is one of the last of the body on frame, so it has got a separate chassis, so you can take the body off this chassis and a sort of a rolling chassis, which I know people do silly things with, because you've got a nice 4.6 litre sort of Mustang, entry-level Mustang V8 hanging out at the front there. So lots of fun to be had with these, with the body off. But yeah, this one is really nice and rust-free thanks to the climate it's come from. So the next Vic is another Cincinnati car. This is the one that's liveried up as Purgatory, which was done for a little bit of filming or a photo shoot or something. This is probably the dirtiest of them. So you see it's quite algal on the outside and it's a little bit dirty on the inside, but actually it's a fairly complete car. So this one does have the light bar on the top, but that will possibly be coming off. But Chris might be negotiable. Again, contact details below. Yeah, this is a complete car. It has a bit of an exhaust leak, I think, because it sounds a little bit fruitier than some of the others. Yeah, there's a little bit of a kind of burble. Actually sounds quite nice, because most of them are very, very quiet. But yeah, this one has definitely got a bit of an exhaust leak. But like the others, starts on the button, nice and happy. We'll see if I can see the mileage. So I was going to read the mileage off, and you'll notice you can't actually see the display, but it is actually functioning. It's just the backlight has failed. Now if I zoom in on the camera, it's actually quite good at picking this up. I think it's 102,682 miles on this car. So similarly, it's just popped over the 100,000 miles before it's taken out of service. So yeah, it just needs a dashboard out and a new backlight fitting, so you can actually see the mileage. But you can read that off the onboard computer with an OBD reader anyway. So this one has got full crim spec interior, so it's actually got just a completely flat door card with no door handle, obviously so someone can't let themselves out. And it has previously had a cage, so you can see that's there. Now Chris has got a spare cage, so it can be sold with this if somebody's interested. Ignore the paraphernalia in here, but this one doesn't currently have any seats in the back. It did used to have the plastic seats because this was properly set up with the cage and everything. They were actually sold to a film company that used them in another car. But Chris can source original seat squabs if somebody wants them. Yeah, at the moment the cars can be sold without the rear seats and without the cage, but those can be arranged separately. As I say, the lights will probably come off, but if somebody's particularly interested, Chris might be able to sort something out for you. But yeah, this is quite interesting that it's got the proper flat door cards. One might say lightweight race trim, but it's actually crim trim. So you will have noticed there is a front clip from a Victoria in the back of this in primer. So that's actually for the other Cincinnati car, the one that's had some accident damage, which I think we showed on Jonny's video, which we'll come to next. So that's ready to be painted white for that other car. So this is one of the ones that hasn't been welded. And you can see this one is actually pretty solid as Cincinnati cars go. So you can see a little bit of corrosion, but generally speaking, it's okay. So yeah, it might benefit from a bit of under seal at some point if it's going to get used a lot, but obviously Chris wasn't using these a great deal. So yeah, pretty solid cars, but sometimes from states like New York and other sort of more northern states where they use salt on the road, they do tend to rot on these sills, but this one looking in pretty good condition. It's not even got any bends on there on the jack point, which is where they tend to get abused. Because they still get, technically the jack point is on the body, not on the chassis, which is unusual. But yeah, this one looking pretty good as well. Right, we're in the third and final Cincinnati car. So this is the one that's got the accident damage. Thank you. Looks good. So 90,000 on this one. On the bottom. So this one was clearly taken out of service a little bit early because of the damage, which I'll show you in a second. Clearly this one is in a few more pieces, so you see a load of trim in the back. And the door that I've got propped open with my foot, so this needs opening from the inside, so the lock mechanism has been taken apart. Ready to start taking this off because actually this door needs replacing. It's quite badly damaged on the outside. But Chris has already sourced all the parts that are needed for this. So it needs a front wing, it needs that front clip. You'll notice on some outside shots it's black. It needs a white one, which is what's in the back of the other Cincinnati car. It needs the door replacing, but it's got all of those parts. The only things that will need doing is on this door, the glass will need taking out, and I think the window regulator and a few of the bits. So having both of them together, you can make one good out of the two doors. This has got the mechanisms, the other one is nice and straight. Right, now let's pull this forward. One thing to note on this, the steering is a little bit heavy, so it might be that it needs a new steering rack. The steering looks nice and straight after the accident, so I think it's been straightened out, a new tie rod end, but maybe the rack has failed or the pump has failed. It's not making any noise and there's fluid in the pump, but it's just very heavy on the steering. I'm also getting a battery charge warning, so maybe the alternator isn't great on this one. So this is a proper project one. Now I think Jonny had designs on this because it would make a good fun little project, but that remains to be seen. So once again, if you're interested in this, a proper project Crown Victoria, good for somebody that's doing content, because there's plenty to go at in this, and it's a bit of a blank canvas then to do whatever you want to with it. Then yeah, Chris's details are in the description below. So Chris has confirmed the alternator issue is it's got the low spec, like 160 amp. So it's a civilian spec alternator that someone's fitted. So it probably is charging, but it hasn't got a meaty enough one if you're going to put lights and stuff on. So it throws a code in this particular instance. He can get hold of it, as with all these bits, because he's living in Canada, he can source a lot of these parts directly from breakers over there if necessary. And it will probably need a new steering wheel because the steering wheel on this one's a little bit grotty. But yeah, as with all these cars, if there's parts that are needed in their restoration, Chris, if he hasn't already got them here in the UK, he can probably source them out of Canada. So Chris has just been poking around in the back. So this also has the Crim spec door cards with no door handles in the back, but it does have a full complete interior, so the seats are in the back of this. So if somebody wanted the other Cincinnati car with seats, we could probably rob them from this if there's no interest in this immediately. So yeah, things can be worked out if people want particular parts with particular cars. So I'm going to do a video underneath the sills as with the other ones, but I maybe need to turn the camera around first, eh? So this is the sills on the crash damaged Cincinnati car. So the sills are straight, even if they are a little bit crusty. They're still relatively solid, but they're definitely cleaning back and treating, and it might need some work on the outer sills. This one is a proper project. The chassis is good though, as with all of these, but the crash damage we talked about, funny angle I know because I'm lying on the floor, it's way too hot, I can't bother to get up. But damage on the front of the wing, where's my finger there, all the way through. It's obviously been sideswiped by something. So the door you might be able to straighten out, to be honest, rather than replacing, because it's sort of just bulged out a little bit. And even the wing you might get away with it, but there are spare panels to go with it. And obviously it needs a bumper sorting, and these had the indicators out, but there are spare parts for all of those that come with the car. So yeah, so it will come with the missing panels or the replacement panels for here. And then yeah, we'll need a few other bits and pieces. But all in all, as with a lot of these, chassis looks good, sills just a little bit crusty because it's a Cincinnati car. This one is also, as you can see, a little bit algal and has some paint lacquer issues, but you know, I wonder, that's part of the joy of these things. They look a little bit ratty because they always did when they're in service. But yeah, this is a proper project for somebody, or potentially a parts car, but it seems to be a bit too nice. It drives very nicely aside the slightly heavy steering, so it'd be a shame really to part this one out. So you'll have seen the mighty New York taxi in Jonny's video. This one is sadly not for sale. Same with the Caprice, that one's probably not going to be for sale. This final black and white one, we're not going to move this today. You did see on Jonny's video, this one does also start on the button. This is a fairly complete car. This one, as you can see, is already road registered, so it has a UK plate. It's had all the front end light conversions done. It does start and run, so it just needs an MOT. Obviously, it's got a bit of bird lime on, which will get off at some point in the next couple of days. But yeah, this one will also be up for sale. It's a California car, so it should be pretty clean in terms of corrosion. And I think it's still locked, but you probably remember from Jonny's video, it's fairly complete inside as well. It hasn't got, so I haven't got the keys to hand, but you can see it's missing all of the kind of control systems, but it has got the center console for fitting those. So it's a pretty clean car inside. It's from Cathedral City, nothing to do with the cheese. It's from Cathedral City in California. So yeah, nice, good California car that should be relatively clean and rust free. As with so many of these, you can see it's had lights on the top before, so it's got a little bong that's been filled in when it was turned to X-Fleet. So the lights could be put back on. And again, the paint has suffered on the sort of the vertical surfaces that get baked in the sun. But all in all, despite the bird line, it's quite a good car. And this one also has the push bars as well, which is quite nice. You will also notice it's missing the rear lights, but those will be either put back on or certainly included with the car when that goes for sale. It's also got, you can see it's still got some lights on the back here, these sort of on the parcel shelf ones, which is quite cool. So I decided to come and get the actual keys for this one. We haven't got a battery put on it at the moment, but this was another one that's around about 100,000 when it came out of service, and it's really very tidy inside. Excuse the cobwebs, but yeah, it's quite a nice car. One interesting thing that this has that I've never seen before, it has a brake kill switch. It doesn't turn the brakes off, but it does turn the brake lights off. So if you are stalking around with all the lights off, which apparently is a thing they need to do in California, you can, by flicking this little switch, you can turn the rear brake lights off. Amazing. Each one of these cars is quite its own little character, because every different police force has their own little thing they did with the cars. And so some of them have the little switches so you can take the key out and leave the engine running so that it doesn't flatten the battery with the lights running. So yeah, lots of random modifications they made, but that's quite a neat one to turn the brake light switches off. I'm guessing it's not legal to use that in the UK, but it is there. It's part of its originality. Just make sure you don't turn the brake lights off when it goes for an MOT, because that would be a problem. Okay, so that's about all for this video. I've given you a walk around of most of the cars that are for sale. If you are interested, either get in touch with me directly or get in touch with Chris. As I said before, his details will be in the description of this video. And yeah, these cars are now actively for sale. But before we go, we're going to do a cold start on something else. So Jonny was quite keen to have a go with this, but we didn't get round to it. There's a lovely little Kubota sitting in here, which has been sat for a while. So battery terminal's just gone on. We're going to see if this will cold start. I really hope this starts, because who doesn't love a flappy exhaust? How cool is that? Okay, so first things first. So I think it's ignition left. Yeah. Yep. I heard that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10. So no magic smoke escapes. That's the glow plugs run. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Let's give it a whirl, shall we? Oh, yes! It's alive!